Welcome to the Korea Pro Podcast, your weekly guide to understanding the most pressing and complicated developments shaping South Korea. We're your hosts, Jeongmin Kim,
John Lei,
and Joon Ha Park of Korea Pro.
Go beyond headlines as we explain not just what happened, but also what really matters and why it matters.
If you monitor South Korea for work or just trying to keep up, you're in the right place.
This is the Korea Pro Podcast. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Korea Pro Podcast. Jeongmin and Joon Ha joining. Today, we're recording May 8th, Thursday, around 4:40. And this week, the South Korean conservatives are going through a massive infight, which is what we are going to start with. The weekend started with the primary ending for the People Power Party. So there were party member votes and the public opinion polls. And between the former party leader Han Dong-hoon and former labor minister Kim Moon-soo won. And it was quite a margin too, actually, right?
It was like a 10% margin, I believe.
Right. So Kim Moon-soo was quite happy the next day on Sunday. And then come Monday, that was the Children's Day plus Buddha's birthday. And they did like the politicians traditionally gather for some sort of celebration where they sort of met each other there. But it was very awkward. Apparently, Han Duck-soo said that the former prime minister and acting president who stepped down to run for the presidential candidate for the Conservative Party, he says that he asked Kim Moon-soo to meet him 3 times, but Kim Moon-soo was wishy-washy. And then that's when all the reports started making conjectures about potential infights within the PPP, which turned out to be true.
Yes.
And Tuesday and Wednesday, it escalated. Kim Moon-soo started very actively saying that the party leadership is trying to kick him out, pressuring him to step down. But this was really confusing to see because throughout the whole primary process, didn't he continuously...
He did promise.
Yeah, he promised to party members, less like a promise, but vowed that he will very much bow out of the race and like unite with Han Duck-soo. I guess he did not say bow out, but he continuously implied that he will be doing a unity ticket with Han Duck-soo.
Join forces, yeah.
Yeah, that's why Han Duck-soo gave up on the acting presidency role during a very, very important timing for South Korea considering all the tariffs and everything. And then Kim Moon-soo started saying that party leadership should not be this hands-on trying to pressure him to step down. And he even issued a statement saying that this is against the party regulations and rules and the principles because the party members voted for him. Do you think this was like a change of heart for him or do you think this was like a calculation?
Personally, I think it was a calculation. Kim Moon-soo's always been quite a steady force from the reports that we've seen, also the profile that we've written.
Right. He used to be a labor activist and then...
A very prominent one.
Very prominent one. Used to be comrades with other very prominent ones like Sim Sang-jeung in the past. But then after the fall of Soviet Union, he turned to like very, very right-wing sort of politicians.
Indeed.
And he survived. So he's really good with political survivals, right? So basically, what he was saying was party leadership should stop pressuring him to give his seat to Han Duck-soo. And so from Han Duck-soo's point of view, he's like, what the hell?
Keep the promise.
Yeah, keep the promise. So that's what he said. And then this escalated so much so that the most senior leaders of the People Power Party right now, Kwon Sung-dong, the floor leader, said that he's going to be on a hunger strike to pressure Kim Moon-soo. And that was a funny moment because what did Kim Moon-soo say to that? Something like, you guys weren't doing any hunger strikes even when people were, conservative protests were outside trying to protect your party. And now you're doing this diet thing just to kick me out.
Quite the infight.
Right, quite the infight. And they were doing it publicly. So we had to keep seeing this Yeon-up urgence about the PPP infight, which was quite funny and honestly quite disturbing. And then Kwon Young-se, the emergency committee leader, the interim leader of the party, told Kim Moon-soo that he should not betray the trust that the party members gave him, which also has a point though, to a certain extent. But then when we talk about the trust of the party members, we do have to think about the party regulations and rules actually, and
what
the
do they actually
justification.
entail?
Right, because like if you do a primary, it's in the rule that if it's through an election of a primary, you are a justifiable candidate, right? But now what the party leaders are saying is that it's in their rule book area of interpretation that they are actually allowed to change the presidential candidate even after the primary. So this is actually quite confusing to a lot of people. It could be seen as them trying to interpret that in a way that is comfortable for them. And now what Kim Moon-soo is saying that, well, if you guys are going down that road, I'm going to basically find everybody that could support me, including Sim Sang-jeung, which she didn't really respond to reportedly.
Yeah.
And Lee Jae-myung said, oh, please, no. Get me out of it. And Lee Nak-yeon, it sounds like Lee Nak-yeon is on board with that though, right? Because he met Kim Moon-soo. So it's a mess right now. And he also filed an injunction, I believe.
He did. He filed an injunction just today. He was seeking confirmation of his candidacy. He was opposing the party leadership's move to convene a national convention that could result in his replacement with Han.
Which, by the way, TikTok, time is ticking. The official registration deadline
May
is
11th.
Sunday. And they are going to do the public opinion polls as well.
Yeah, so they have said that they will be doing a public opinion poll, a TV debate even between Han and Kim. Kim has publicly stated just this morning that he won't be attending the TV debate as proposed by the PPP.
Good luck with that, even if it happens. It's Thursday evening right now.
Exactly. And Kim has proposed something much more different. He's saying that let's give it a week. Make sure that Han and Kim are on the same page.
Give it a week.
Yeah, a bit more conversation after the May 11th deadline.
Well, also good luck with that.
So all of these things are happening at once, and as we are speaking right now as well, at 4:40, Kim Moon-soo and Han Duck-soo, they're doing a second talk around
to negotiate.
Yeah, to negotiate at the National Assembly. So we'll see what comes out of that.
It might actually happen right after we record this, but let's say that they disagree until the end and they fail to come up with a unity ticket under whoever that might be. Come Sunday, what happens then? Will they both be registering for the candidacy?
Well, Han Duck-soo has already stated that if the 단일화 or the candidacy merger does not happen under his watch or under any watch, he will be resigning from his position again.
Which is not a position, but a position, yeah, sure, like potential position. So this puts him in a very awkward situation as well. He did this whole speech stepping down from acting presidency, saying that, sure, I have a very important responsibility right now for the sake of the country, but I have a bigger responsibility that I need to take on. And then he might not be able to register as candidate. But technically, let's say that Kim Moon-soo and Han Duck-soo end up registering separately. Kim Moon-soo as PPP for some reason and Han Duck-soo as independent for some reason. Is this technically possible?
Yeah.
It's possible. Then in that case, if someone steps down from candidacy during the campaign period, then it's like an automatic merger, right? So that's going to be still very, very awkward and confusing for the voters.
Indeed. We saw a merger in the last presidential election that came only a couple of weeks before the final vote, which saw An Chol-soo's name being crossed out on the actual ballot.
Right.
That was already printed.
Which An Chol-soo apologized for a few weeks ago.
Yes, so we need to wait and see what happens.
Next in line about domestic politics, while all of this is happening within the People Power Party, for the Democratic Party, this was a fabulous week, I believe.
Yeah, it's high sales for the Democratic Party. You know, the Seoul High Court just this Tuesday, they granted the request from the presidential candidate and frontrunner Lee Jae-myung to delay the first hearing of his retrial on election law violations, rescheduling it from the originally proposed May 15th to June 18th, so 15 days after the June 3rd presidential election.
I believe there was another delay in the trial date.
There was another one on his Daejangdong, the urban redevelopment
and
case.
other development cases that's merged, right?
Yeah, and that's been rescheduled to June 24th.
So these are all way after the June 3rd election, and because there is no transition committee this time, because it comes after impeachment, it's most likely that if he wins, June 4th will be the inauguration day.
Indeed.
Which means these trial dates, rescheduled trial dates, falls when he has presidential immunity concerning 형사상의 소추, which is waiver from criminal case pursuit of lawsuit. So this is like an academic discussion. Used to be academic discussion, but now active legal discussion right now. Because some people are arguing that 소추 means indictment, just the starting period. But others are saying it includes trial procedure as well. So if Lee gets the presidential immunity, all the trials has to be suspended as well. And it's really undecided right now,
Yeah,
right?
and another thing we have to mention is that DP has already it's proposed the legislation to suspend the ongoing criminal trials for sitting presidents. That's sort of a upending the sort of framing it as a legal clarification,
Right.
resolving whether presidential immunity covers only indictments or also trials.
Right. So they're going for the latter, to interpret it in a broader term so that all the trials has to suspend during the term as well. So if this happens, it's a very comfortable situation for Lee right now. And because of this, partly because of this, it looks like Lee is in a very comfortable position just to focus on talking about policies and pledges and do whatever he has planned to, meet the citizens and take a photo and release it. Meet very high profile figures in cultural sphere, labor, industries to get the actual endorsements from them.
Indeed, and we've seen it today. We've seen it a couple of days ago where he met with Kim Moon-soo, the scriptwriter for Goblin, the TV series. And it's just something that will keep going on for Lee Jae-myung until June 3rd.
Right. And we will probably keep seeing that during the official campaign period as well, starting next week. Thirdly, while these are happening in the domestic sphere, let's go to the executives. Industries minister, poor fate for this guy. Yeah, Czech nuclear power plant deal is one of the biggest, one of the most major projects that the South Korean formerly unit administration was actually really proud of. And they actually did a good job with it until there was a lawsuit with the French and American rivals. And then it looked like it was going to be resolved. And so they were expecting a main agreement signing ceremony. So what happened was the industries minister was flying to get to the signing ceremony.
Get to Prague, yeah.
And then mid-flight, there was a court decision. What was the court decision?
Yeah, so the court's injunction was decision to block the final signing of the $18 billion nuclear contract between Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power KHNP and Czech utility CEZ. And it's sort of become quite the downturn for South Korean nuclear technology.
Yeah, I think I did not mention this in any of the reports, but I think the public affairs team under the industries ministry, I think they made a mistake of releasing this too early because they, we do a week ahead based on advanced releases about what's happening that week, right? And there you can already see how they are framing certain potential achievements. And when something is unclear, you don't release something or just make it generic.
Especially before it's finalized.
Yeah, exactly. And then did they not expect this, that this could happen during mid-flight? Did they have no intel? Because they already released an advance notice about how this is such a big win for Team Korea. First time in 16 years, first entrance into European market, blah, 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 blah. So all the South Korean media already reported on this. And after flight, this was just all...
Yeah, it happened right under their noses, literally.
Right. And right afterward, the industries ministry had to do some damage control. So they said along the lines of, this is not a big deal. We will be able to resolve this pretty soon. Based on what? It might get resolved soon, but this was really public affairs sort of disaster from my point of view. And we have to keep an eye on this.
Looking to stay informed about South Korea's fast-evolving political, business and cultural landscape? Join us on Korea Pro, the go-to resource for in-depth analysis expertly curated by top-tier professionals. And now you can pick the membership level that best suits your needs, thanks to our new subscription packages. Starting at just $199 annually, you can access daily analysis and our weekly podcast. Or try our premium membership package, which offers additional perks such as executive briefings, monthly reports and forecasts, networking receptions and event opportunities, as well as much, much more. To find the best fit for you, just head to signup.koreapro.org and become a member today.
Week ahead, is there anything significant going on the peninsula?
Yeah, so the Taeguk exercise 2025 will be happening from May 12th to 14th, which is next week. The South Korean military will carry out its independent command post exercise that really involves a lot of tabletop exercises instead of field training. According to South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, the year's drill will be based on a scenario involving some gray zone provocations across the multi-domain operations, reflecting North Korea's capabilities.
Right, so this is not a joint drill or anything. It's just South Korea unilateral drill. That's annual?
That is annual.
It is annual. Okay, and on the political end of the schedule, starting next week, it's a legitimate, official thing going on starting Monday. It's an official campaign period. Reminder for our listeners, if you're not aware, South Korean election law is very, very restrictive, and it's very old as well. So there are certain things that you can do and can't do, and there are more things that you're not allowed to do actually or say outside the official campaign period or even inside. So that's why you see a lot of like very old-timey style, like mass game style dances and the weird lyrics of the K-pop songs, like made it into a PPP version or DP version or the candidate's name. Music videos featuring their policies sometimes, banners, posters, loudspeakers, and all that. So you will start seeing them starting Monday. And usually, TV debates between officially registered candidates, one per party, they start around this time. But because there is unclear who the PPP candidate might be, the schedule is yet unclear.
Yeah, so just a little heads up, the DP will hold its first campaign rally in Gwanghwamun Square on May 12th on Monday.
But PPP has not.
Is still yet to decide on a candidate, so they will announce shortly.
I mean, technically they did decide because they already have a website for Kim Moon-soo with Victory something KR.
But it's the funding that counts
that's
for
true.
campaign trails. So the PPP will announce, hopefully, within the next couple of weeks.
Or maybe within the next hour. And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in.
If you want to know more, sign up for our daily executive briefings. We'll brief you on all you need to know from the past 24 hours and why it matters, delivered to your inbox every morning.
If you want to stay ahead of the curve, sign up for Korea Pro to get a full package of insights, from daily expert analysis to profiles, month in review, week ahead, and more.
And until next time, I'm Jeongmin Kim.
I'm Joon Ha Park.
And I'm John Lee, and we'll see you next time on the Korea Pro Podcast.